As we take into account the lives lost and the legacies that emerged during critical times in our nation's history, I wish to honor and recognize Elijah Parish Lovejoy during this Black History Month. Lovejoy, a renowned abolitionist, journalist, editor, and minister, made his presence known in history from his work in Alton. Lovejoy was a writer and editor for a local newspaper that provided him leeway to express his personal opinions. His religious practices and firsthand experiences witnessing the abusive treatment of slaves resulted in him adopting a newfound moral philosophy regarding his abolition of slavery. He used the opportunity to demonstrate the nation's need for transformation. Education continues to be a tool to us and future generations of leaders. As a strong advocate for the greater expansion and accessibility of education, I consider it valuable to recognize the realities of this month's purpose and the actions of the exceptional trailblazer, Elijah Parish Lovejoy.
Today, as we celebrate Black History Month, I lift up the name of my shero, Fannie Lou Hamer. She was a voting rights leader known for her powerful speeches on behalf of civil rights and her presence in front of crowds and on television. She co-founded the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party to challenge the local party's efforts to block Black participation. She went on to become a member of Mississippi's first integrated delegation. Hamer helped organize Freedom Summer, bringing waves of college students of all races to help with African American voter registration in the South. Hamer received a hysterectomy by a white doctor without her consent while undergoing another surgery. Forced sterilization of Black women was so common that it was given the name Mississippi appendectomy. She died of breast cancer at the age of 59.
Today I want to take a few minutes to talk to you about a true trailblazer and role model for myself and so many others, Carol Moseley Braun. Carol Moseley Braun is a trailblazer and inspiration for Black women everywhere. She was the first Black woman elected to the U.S. Senate, the first Black United States Senator from the Democratic Party, the first woman to defeat an incumbent U.S. Senator in an election, and the first female United States Senator from Illinois. She was also the first woman to ever serve on the prestigious Senate Finance Committee, as well as the first Black person to hold an executive position in Cook County. All quite impressive. Possessing an early interest in politics, she also worked on the historic campaign of Harold Washington, the first Black mayor of Chicago. As she was sworn into the Senate, Carol Moseley Braun said, "I cannot escape the fact that I came to the Senate as a symbol of hope and change. This quote is especially poignant and resonates with me because I am the first Black person to serve as senator for the 48th District. Carol Moseley Braun's number of first and list of accomplishments has inspired me and future generations to follow her path by continuing to demonstrate our political acumen and tremendous impact in the political arena."
For Black History Month, I have the distinct pleasure of honoring a legend of the South Side of Chicago, a figure in my neighborhood and in the greater University of Chicago community, Temule Black. He was a folklorist, a social historian, and a civil rights activist who blended storytelling with political advocacy on behalf of the Black community in Chicago. In 1983, he was part of a grassroots campaign that succeeded in electing Harold Washington as Chicago's first Black mayor. I am pleased to be part of this legacy that people like him, elders like Temule Black, led by passing legislation in my role in the Illinois State Senate to break down the barriers facing Black and brown communities on the south side of Chicago. We eliminated cash bail. We provided civics education to folks locked up and incarcerated. We are fighting gun violence by empowering communities and reimagining what public safety means, and we're not participating in the political theater of mass incarceration politics. So I'm proud to honor Temule Black here because of the work that he did. Many of us in the Black Caucus are able to stand here today. He might have passed away, but his legacy lives on, and we must carry that legacy to bring public safety to everyone, to lift up everyone, and to build the best communities we can in Chicago, Illinois, and in this country. Thank you.
This Black History Month, I'd like to recognize the legacy of the late, great Maya Angelou. She was a renowned poet, author, and activist. And though she was magnificent with her words, there were years when she did not speak. She had been sexually abused, and Maya was mute as a result for almost 5 years. But when she spoke again, she captured the masses. Through her life and her work, Maya taught the power of resiliency, that no matter what we've gone through, we can rise. She also taught me the importance of using my voice and having the courage to speak the truth of one's lived experience. The way you say something matters, and the words you use should be intentional. And as a legislator, I know the power of my voice. I know the power of my voice can help bring understanding and unity to issues that are near and dear to our hearts and communities. Sometimes one conversation can make the difference in bridging the gap between opposing views. Maya was such an inspiration to me and millions across the world. I know that her legacy lives far beyond her, and her words live rent-free in my mind. Courage is the most important of all the virtues, she says, because without courage, you cannot practice any other virtue consistently.
In honor of Black History Month, I am recognizing the efforts and contributions of a trailblazing Black woman, Shirley Chisholm. As the first African American woman elected to Congress in 1968, she broke barriers for all of us during her political career. 4 years later, Shirley changed the course of politics by being the first Black person in our nation's history to win a major party bid as a presidential candidate for the United States. I carry her spirit every day as I too advocate for equality, human rights, and fairness for everyone, especially Black and brown people, women, and all marginalized communities. Shirley led with tenacity, determination, and grace, and she paved the way for women like me.
For this year's Black History Month, I'd like to recognize the legacy of former State Representative Esther Goulart. She was a selfless advocate who fought for her community and represented the 6th District up until her last breath. During her career, she championed education, public safety, and health care. Esther and I represented the same communities, Inglewood, Fuller Park, the Loop, and so I had the pleasure of working closely with her. Representative Goulart was extremely involved in the community, and I could always count on her for support. She was a true partner in the fight to make the South Side of Chicago and the state of Illinois a better place. Esther aimed to be the voice of those who were voiceless. She was dedicated to her role of service, at times to her detriment. When the Democratic Caucus was in the trenches of the 2015 legislative session, she made the trip against doctors' wishes to come vote for a bill to stop service cuts for the elderly and disabled. Representative Goulart had a great sense of humor and was known for her singing. I remember one time she broke out into singing "We Shall Overcome" on the House floor. She was an incredible person and legislator. I will miss her dearly. I will always remember the way she led and her passion for justice. Her legacy is reminiscent of many of the ancestors who came before us, giving of themselves wholeheartedly to the fight for equality and equity. You are not forgotten, Representative Esther Goulart, and your legacy and your light shines on.
This year, in recognition of Black History Month, I'm honoring the incredible contributions to our state by another man of Alpha Phi Alpha, Senator Adelbert Roberts, who became the Senate's first African American leader in 1924. Prior to his appointment to the Illinois Senate, like myself, Senator Roberts was elected to the Illinois House of Representatives to serve residents of Chicagoland in 1918. The following year, Chicago exploded in horrific violent race riots that called for the National Guard to have to intervene. In the wake of the riots and the violence, Governor Frank Loudon chose Senator Roberts as a commissioner to the newly created Race Commission to study the root causes and remedies of violence in the city of Chicago and beyond. Continuing his efforts in the Senate, Senator Roberts not only became the first African American senator, but was the first African American to chair a Senate committee when he took the gavel of the Senate Criminal Procedures Committee in 1927. Senator Roberts led policy efforts that addressed criminal justice reform and also outlawed discrimination in contracts for state buildings. As I work to continue his legacy and the legacy of so many other legislative leaders who work to create a more fair and just Illinois through advocacy and policy, I remain committed to honoring our past to lead to a brighter tomorrow. Honoring Black history is more than just paying attention to the contributions of Americans of African descent for 1 month out of the year. It's about honoring Black history as we focus on the prosperity and success of American history. This is State Senator L.G. Sims. Happy Black History Month.